The sun beats down like a hammer against an anvil, each ray searing my exposed skin as I stumble forward. My throat feels like sandpaper, my tongue swollen and useless in my mouth. I check my phone again, one flickering signal bar that appears and vanishes like a mirage. Please, I whisper to no one, my voice lost in the vast emptiness of the Arizona desert. Please connect. I press the emergency call button for the 5th time, watching the screen with desperate intensity. The call drops immediately. Again. 45 minutes ago, life had been normal. Bella and I were driving back from Tucson, the air conditioning struggling against the afternoon heat. Odessa, I think something's wrong with the tire, Bella had said, her voice casual, unconcerned. Can you check it? I thought I heard something. I'd pulled over without question, the good sister, the reliable one. The moment my feet hit the gravel, I'd bent to examine the perfectly fine front tire. As I was examining the tire, 10 seconds later, the engine revved. When I straightened and turned, dust was already billowing around me, Bella's face a blur behind the windshield of my Chevy, my car, as she sped away. I stood frozen, mind refusing to process what my eyes had seen. My sister had just abandoned me in the desert. I stumble over a rock now, catching myself before I fall. The memory of finding those papers in Dad's study last week burns hotter than the sun overhead. College tuition receipts for Bella, thousands of dollars neatly filed away, while I worked double shifts at Rosie's Diner to put myself through community college. 7 years of waitressing, saving every tip, working holidays and weekends to finally buy that used Chevy. My car, my freedom, my only real possession. Just until I get on my feet, Bella had said the first time she borrowed it without asking, then the second time, and the 10th. I'd finally stood up at dinner 3 nights ago, palms flat against the kitchen table. I'm selling the car. I got a job offer in Phoenix. The silence had been immediate, heavy. Mom and Dad exchanged a look I'd seen 1,000 times before. That's the family car, Odessa, Dad had said. Not a question, but a statement of fact. But it's in my name, I'd replied. The registration papers clutched in my hand like a shield. I paid for it. Every cent. Your sister needs it more than you do, Mom had added, the familiar refrain that had followed me since childhood. When Bella went to summer camp while I stayed home to help around the house. When Bella got new school clothes while I got hand-me-downs. When Bella's college was paid for while I worked and studied and worked some more. The memories blur together as heat waves ripple across the desert floor. I think of my childhood bedroom, walls bare while Bella's room overflowed with posters and trophies. I think of the keys always missing from my purse, of plans canceled because Bella needs the car tonight. I'd finally said no yesterday when Bella asked to borrow the car again, just one simple word that had felt like swallowing broken glass. No. No. Dad's face had darkened immediately. Family comes first in this household, Odessa Lynn. You know that. Mom's eyes had filled with tears. After everything we've done for you. I'd looked between them. These people who had raised me to believe I was less deserving than my sister. And something had shifted inside me. A lifetime of bending until I nearly broke. The car is in my name, I'd said, my voice steadier than I'd expected. I worked for it. I'll decide what happens to it. The shock on their faces had been almost worth the chill that followed, the silent treatment as I prepared for bed. Almost worth it. Not worth this. And now, as reality strikes back, I shield my eyes, scanning the horizon for any sign of civilization. Nothing but scrubland and cacti. My phone shows no service now, not even a flickering bar of false hope. The irony doesn't escape me. All those years working for independence, and here I am, completely dependent on the mercy of strangers if any happen to drive by this desolate stretch of highway. My foot catches on something, and this time I do fall, hands scraping against the rough ground. I taste blood as I push myself back up, legs trembling with exhaustion. Family comes first. The words echo in my head, taking on new meaning with each painful step. Yes, family comes first. But after today, I'm redefining what family means. If I survive this desert, if I make it back to civilization, nothing will ever be the same. I'll never again be the Odessa who gives and gives until there's nothing left. The registration papers for my car are still in my wallet, pressed against my hip as I walk. My car, my life, my choice. I take another step forward, then another. The horizon wavers in the heat, but I keep moving. I have to believe that something better waits beyond this desert. I have to believe that someone will help me. I have to believe that I'm worth saving. 3 miles later, I've finally managed to receive a signal. Dial 911 and ask for help. 10 minutes later, the police and emergency vehicle arrived, helped me with my wounds, and took me to the nearest police station. Now at through stay on. The officer Wilson's hand on my shoulder is steady, the first kindness I've felt in hours. His cruiser's air conditioning chills my sunburnt skin as he passes me a bottle of water. "Ma'am, abandoning someone in the desert is a serious offense," he says, his voice gentle but firm. "Your sister could face criminal charges." I gulp the water, my throat still raw. She just left me there. The words sound hollow, inadequate to describe the betrayal. "Miss Matthews, this wasn't just reckless." Officer Wilson taps his computer screen. "Your sister has 3 prior charges for reckless driving, all paid for by your parents." My hand freezes mid-sip. "What?" He turns the screen toward me, and there it is, Bella's name. 3 separate incidents. Fines totaling over $2,000, all marked PAD. How did I not know about this? The question slips out, meant more for myself than him. "Family can keep secrets," he says, watching me carefully, "especially when money's involved." My phone buzzes in the cup holder where it's been charging. I'd barely had enough battery to make the emergency call when a trucker finally spotted me on the roadside. 3 missed calls from Mom. 5 from Dad. 1 text from Bella. "They're freaking out. Just come home and we can fix this." Suddenly, a burst of messages arrive. My mom accidentally added me into a group chat I have never seen before. I scroll up through the message history, looking for some explanation, when I see the pattern of their plan. "She's being stubborn about the car. We need to teach her a lesson." My stomach lurches. I keep scrolling. "Dad, don't do anything drastic." "Mom, just make sure the car stays in the family. If she can't sell it, she can't leave." "Bella, I'll handle it. She'll realize she needs us." Officer Wilson notices my hands shaking. "Miss Matthews, are you all right?" "They planned it," I whisper, turning the phone so he can see. "They wanted to strand me." "Ah." His expression hardens as he reads. "This changes things. This is premeditated. Abandonment and unauthorized use of a vehicle." I close my eyes, memories washing over me like the desert heat. The family loans I was pressured to give $500 for Bella's spring break trip, $300 for her phone bill when she'd spent her money on concert tickets. My account balance perpetually hovering near zero while I paid for family expenses. "I kept every receipt," I murmur, opening my eyes. "Every bank statement. I didn't know why I was saving them." "Dennett?" "That was smart," Officer Wilson says, typing something into his computer. "Documentation matters in cases like this." Cases? The word feels foreign on my tongue. Financial exploitation often accompanies emotional abuse. He speaks matter-of-factly, without judgment. "Your registration and insurance are in your name?" I nod, pulling my wallet from my pocket. The registration is still there, folded and worn but intact. "I'd like to introduce you to someone," he says, starting the cruiser. "Judge Martin regularly comes to your diner, I believe?" He offers free legal consultations. My temporary waitressing job, 7 years and counting. How many opportunities had I declined because family needed me? The manager position I turned down last fall. The night classes I dropped when Bella needed transportation to her social events. "I have a friend," I say suddenly, surprising myself. "Jackie from work. She mentioned her spare room once." Officer Wilson nods. "Good. You shouldn't go back to that house tonight." My phone buzzes again, Dad calling. I silence it. "We'll need to get your car back," Officer Wilson continues. "I can escort you there tomorrow." The thought of facing them sends a wave of nausea through me, but I straighten my shoulders. Tonight. I want my car tonight. An hour later, we pull into my parents' driveway. My Chevy sits in its usual spot, dusty from the desert roads. Jackie waits in her Honda at the curb, a silent promise of sanctuary. Mom opens the door before we reach it, her practiced tears already flowing. "Odessa, thank goodness you're safe. We've been so worried." Behind her, Dad stands with his arms crossed. Bella peeks from the hallway, her expression unreadable. "Miss Isabella Matthews?" Officer Wilson's voice carries an authority I've never possessed. "I need to speak with you about abandoning your sister in a life-threatening situation." "It was just a misunderstanding," Mom interjects, reaching for my arm. I step back, her fingers grasping air. "We have the text messages, Mrs. Matthews," Officer Wilson says calmly. The color drains from her face. "I'm taking my car," I say, my voice steadier than I feel. "And my things." "You can't just," Dad begins. "Actually, sir, she can." Officer Wilson interrupts. "The vehicle is registered in her name. Using it without permission is a criminal offense." Bella steps forward, tears welling in her eyes. "Dessa, I'm sorry. I didn't think." "Save it." I cut her off, the nickname I once loved now sounding like an insult. I saw the texts. 10 minutes later, and one small suitcase, I walk to my car, hands trembling as I unlock it. Officer Wilson supervises as I transfer my essential belongings into the backseat: clothes, documents, the small lockbox containing my savings passbook. When I slide behind the wheel, my hands grip the steering wheel like it's a lifeline. In the rearview mirror, I see my family frozen in the doorway, their perfect facade finally cracking, pressured by Officer Wilson. I drive away, following Jackie's taillights, toward a future suddenly, terrifyingly my own. 2 weeks later, after I move to my friend's house at work, the whispers follow me like a shadow through Martha's diner. They cling to the worn vinyl booths where I've served countless plates of meatloaf special, an apple pie a la mode for 7 years. "Did you hear about poor Marianne's daughter? Mrs. Caldwell's voice carries from table 8, intentionally loud enough for me to catch as I refill coffee mugs. Apparently she's having some sort of breakdown. Left home without a word." I steady the coffee pot, my knuckles white around the handle. 3 tables to go. Just keep pouring. "Well, after what happened in the desert," her companion replies, voice dropping to a theatrical whisper. "Frank at the sheriff's office said Bella's story checks out. The girl's been unstable for months." The coffee sloshes over the rim of a mug, narrowly missing Mr. Henderson's newspaper. He glances up, offering a smile that doesn't quite reach his eyes. "No worries, Odessa. Heard your folks are worried sick about you." The diner suddenly feels too small, the air too thick. 2 weeks since the desert, since Officer Wilson drove me to Jackie's apartment with my rescued car. 2 weeks of my mother's carefully cultivated stories spreading through our town of 8,000 souls. "More cream, please, Mr. Henderson adds, studying my face with uncomfortable intensity. I nod and retreat to the counter where Jackie works the register, her eyes tracking me with concern. "Vultures," she mutters. "All of them." The bell above the door jingles. My father steps inside, his Sunday suit pressed and perfect at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday. The diner falls silent as conversations pause, forks hover midair, and every eye watches this public performance. "Odessa." His voice carries the weight of authority he's wielded my entire life. "Your mother hasn't slept since you left." 7 customers, 3 waitresses, and Martha herself all pretend not to listen. I feel my shoulders curve inward, the familiar posture of making myself smaller in his presence. "We need to talk, daughter." "In private." I glance toward Martha, who stands with arms crossed behind the counter. She gives a subtle nod toward the back hallway. Permission to step away. More than that, permission to choose. "I'm working, Dad." My voice sounds foreign to my own ears, steady, certain. My shift ends at 4. His eyes narrow slightly, scanning the diner before returning to my face. "This isn't like you, Odessa. We raised you better than this." "Better than what exactly?" The words escape before I can trap them behind my teeth. A muscle twitches in his jaw. "Your mother is heartbroken." "I'm sorry to hear that. And part of me truly is." The dutiful daughter they cultivated still lives inside me, whispering that good girls don't cause their mothers pain. "We can discuss this at home. Where you belong." Home. The word lands like a fist. The house where my bedroom walls remained bare while Bella's overflowed with treasures. Where my paychecks disappeared into family emergencies that somehow always centered around my sister. My home is with Jackie right now. Dad's eyes harden. "Family stands by family, Odessa Lynn." "Yes." I meet his gaze squarely. "They do." The diner door jingles again, and my heart sinks as Bella enters, eyes red-rimmed and puffy. Her practiced vulnerability draws immediate sympathy from the room. My sister, who left me to die in the desert, now the picture of remorse in her pale blue sundress. "Odessa," she whispers, voice cracking perfectly. "Please." She approaches slowly, aware of our audience. My regular Tuesday customers watch with undisguised interest, the Matthews family drama playing out between the lunch and dinner rush. I've been trying to call you, Bella continues, tears spilling down her cheeks. I know what I did was terrible. I was scared and stupid, and I didn't think. I say nothing, feeling the weight of expectation from everyone watching. The script calls for forgiveness now, the magnanimous older sister embracing the prodigal younger one. I've been seeing someone, Bella continues, voice dropping. A therapist. I have. Issues with jealousy. With you having things I don't. Mr. Robertson at the counter nods approvingly. Mrs. Caldwell dabs at her eyes with a napkin. Please come home, Bella finishes, reaching for my hand. Mom needs you. Dad needs you. I need you. 7 years of waitressing have taught me to read people. This performance isn't for me, it's for our audience. For the whispers that will follow. Did you see how that poor girl begged for forgiveness while her sister just stood there like stone? I'm glad you're getting help, I say finally, stepping back from her touch. But I can't come home right now. Dad's face darkens. Your mother is a grown woman who'll manage? I interrupt, surprising myself again with this new voice, this new strength. I need to finish my shift. The car, he says quietly, deliberately. We've been making payments on it. A laugh escapes me before I can catch it, sharp and unexpected. No, Dad, you haven't. I reach beneath the counter for my bag, pulling out a worn folder I've carried every day since the desert. The physical weight of it in my hands gives me courage. I've kept everything, I tell him, opening the folder to reveal neat rows of payment receipts spanning 7 years. Every shift, every tip, every payment. It's all documented. The shock that flashes across his face is worth every paper cut from organizing these records late at night at Jackie's kitchen table. Worth every hour spent with Judge Martin learning about financial manipulation and documentation. This is ridiculous, Dad sputters. We're your family. Yes, you are. I close the folder gently. And this is my boundary. The diner has gone completely silent. I feel Jackie move to stand beside me, her presence solid and sure. I think you should leave now, Martha says, from behind the counter, her voice brooking no argument. Odessa has customers waiting. Dad's face reddens. Bella's tears dry up remarkably fast as she realizes her performance has failed. This isn't over, Dad says quietly. Actually, I reply, it is. After they leave, Martha puts her hand on my shoulder. Take 10 minutes, then table 12 needs more coffee. In the back hallway, I lean against the wall, my heart hammering against my ribs. My phone buzzes with a text from Officer Wilson. Just checking in. You safe? I type back. Yes, they came to the diner. I'm okay. Another buzz. Judge Martin this time. My daughter Sarah has a room opening in her duplex. $650 month. Utilities included. Interested? I stare at the message, at the possibility of walls that are truly mine. My hands shake as I open the paralegal course website Judge Martin showed me last week when he came to my work. The application deadline is tomorrow. The classes would fit around my diner shifts. For the first time since the desert, I allow myself to imagine a life beyond this town, beyond the whispers, beyond the constant pull of family obligation, a life where no is a complete sentence, where boundaries aren't declarations of war but simple statements of fact. I type back to Judge Martin. Very interested. When can I see it? 10 minutes later, I return to the diner floor, coffee pot in hand. Mrs. Caldwell and her friend fall silent as I approach their table. More coffee? I ask, my voice steady. Mrs. Caldwell studies my face, searching for cracks. Your poor mother called me this morning. She's beside herself with worry. I pour the coffee precisely to the rim, not a drop spilled this time. That's between her and her therapist, I imagine. Her mouth opens, then closes. I move to the next table, feeling something unfamiliar stretching through me. Not quite peace, not quite power, but something close to both, growing stronger with each step I take. A week later, I decided to fully escape from my family, so I came to collect all the things that are left at the house. The police cruiser idles at the curb, a silent guardian as I slide the last box into Jackie's hatchback. Officer Wilson stands with arms crossed, his presence transforming my childhood home into unfamiliar territory. Need anything else from inside, Miss Matthews? He asks, sunlight glinting off his badge. Just one more thing. My footsteps echo through rooms, suddenly small and foreign. In my bedroom, stripped of everything except the furniture that was never truly mine, I run my fingers along the windowsill, where I once pressed my forehead against cool glass, dreaming of escape. The walls hold 17 years of whispered plans, of calculations scribbled by flashlight, of promises I made to myself while Bella's laughter floated from downstairs. Mom appears in the doorway, her face arranged in the expression that once paralyzed me with guilt. "Odessa, please, we can talk about this like adults." I say nothing, moving past her with measured steps. "Your father hasn't slept since you left," she calls after me. "Is that what you wanted?" The words slide off me like rainwater. My silence is unfamiliar to her, a language she can't manipulate. In the living room, Dad paces near the fireplace, while Bella perches on the couch, mascara-smudged eyes watching my every move. "That car contains personal gifts I purchased," Bella announces as I reach the door. "I should at least get those back." I turn, finally meeting her gaze. "Itemize them. Send the list to Officer Wilson. With receipts." Her mouth opens, then closes. We both know no such receipts exist. Outside, I slide into Jackie's passenger seat. Through the windshield, I watch my family's tableau, 3 figures framed in the doorway, suddenly powerless without my participation in their drama. "Done?" Jackie asks, starting the engine. "Done." 40 minutes later, I sit cross-legged on Jackie's floor, laptop balanced on my knees. My finger hovers over the button, hesitating only briefly before clicking publish. The car listing goes live, priced just below market value to guarantee a quick sale. I close my eyes, breathing deeply as I create a new email address, separating my digital identity from the one my family knows. That night, my phone vibrates against the hardwood floor. Dad's number. I silence it without looking at the message, adding it to the growing collection of unheard threats and manipulations. "Your father called the landlord," Jackie says, appearing in the doorway with 2 mugs of coffee. "Tried claiming you have outstanding debts that make you a rental risk." I accept the coffee, unsurprised. "What did Mr. Grayson say?" "Told your dad he's known you since you were 16 bussing tables, and maybe he should worry more about his own credit score." She grins, sitting beside me. Small towns cut both ways. My phone lights up again, Mom's number. Against better judgment, I glance at the message preview. "Emergency room. Please call. It's serious." 10 minutes pass. 20. My hands shake slightly, muscle memory of decades of urgent family summons, but I continue typing job application answers, letting the phone sit untouched. An hour later, it buzzes with a text from my cousin Sarah. "For your information, your mom's fine. Playing bridge at Aunt Linda's. Thought you should know." The knot in my stomach loosens. Another test failed. Morning brings unexpected allies. My regular customers at the diner have formed a protective circle after Bella's tearful performance yesterday. My sister posted a heartbreaking message on Facebook but got laughed at. "Mrs. Abernathy" stops me between coffee refills, her weathered hand catching mine. "Heard about that social media nonsense your sister posted," she says. "Don't you worry. We set the record straight at Bible study." Days later, the pastor's wife pointedly asks about my desert ordeal, while Bella stands frozen at the pharmacy counter. Officer Wilson mentions the abandonment case at the hardware store, where Dad buys his fishing gear. Judge Martin speaks quietly with our church elders about troubling family patterns after Sunday service. The town's invisible communication network, once weaponized against me, now carries a different current. Then one Monday morning, my phone chimes with an email notification. The car sold. Full asking price, cash, pickup tomorrow. My ticket to Phoenix made real. 30 minutes later, a court clerk calls. "Miss Matthews, your restraining order hearing has been moved up." Judge Franklin reviewed the evidence, particularly the prior driving incidents. "It's been granted." I hang up, hands steady for the first time in weeks. 2 hours later, another call, my potential employer in Phoenix. "We'd like to offer you the position," the HR director says. "Actually, we can do a bit better than the salary we discussed." That evening, Dad calls from an unfamiliar number. His voice lacks its usual resonance when I answer. "We should negotiate," he says, the word foreign in his mouth. "Come to some arrangement that works for everyone." I watch the sunset through Jackie's kitchen window, the same Arizona sky that witnessed my abandonment now bearing witness to my rebirth. "There's nothing to negotiate," I tell him quietly. I'm not asking for anything from you anymore. I end the call as Mom's church friend Elaine texts. Thinking of you. Missed your mother at the fundraiser tonight. Several people asking questions. Their world is shrinking just as mine expands. The scales rebalancing, finally and completely. A week later, on Tuesday afternoon, after I finish the shift, the letter trembles in my hand as I read it again, the handwriting unmistakably belonging to Mrs. Pearson, our family friend of 20 years. Your father's heart condition has worsened with the stress. The doctor says family healing is critical to his recovery. Your mother promises things will be different now. Please come for one last family dinner before you leave town, Thursday at 6. I fold the paper along its creases and tuck it into my pocket. The familiar weight of manipulation settles in my stomach, but something has changed. The sensation no longer cripples me. I have called the doctor to check my father's condition, and the doctor confirmed he hasn't seen my dad in months. You don't have to go, Jackie says from her position on the couch, feet propped on a coffee table scattered with paralegal textbooks. That's the thing about boundaries. You get to enforce them. Ow. I know. I zip my overnight bag shut. Phoenix awaits on Friday, new apartment, new job, new life. But I need this. For me. Jackie twirls her car keys. I'll wait outside. First sign of trouble, I'm coming in with air horns and confetti. I just nod and finalize packing. On Thursday evening, the drive to my childhood home passes in silence. Each landmark, we pass the diner where I worked double shifts, the bank where I deposited every tip, the high school where Bella was homecoming queen while I worked weekends, feels like turning pages in a book I've finally finished reading. Jackie parks across the street. You've got this, she says, squeezing my hand. Remember what Judge Martin said. Don't engage with emotional manipulation. Stick to facts. I recite the words that have become my mantra. And I deserve peace. My parents' house looks smaller somehow. The front door opens before I reach it, my mother appearing with arms outstretched, wearing the yellow cardigan she saves for church and family photos. Odessa, she whispers, voice thick with rehearsed emotion. You came. I step past her embrace. For closure, not reconciliation. The dining room tableau could win awards for calculated nostalgia. My father sits at the head of the table, his face arranged in a mask of patriarchal concern. Bella occupies her usual place at his right hand, eyes red-rimmed and darting nervously toward me. My childhood favorites crowd the table: fried chicken, mashed potatoes, green bean casserole. Photo albums stand propped against the centerpiece. A medical prescription bottle sits prominently near my father's water glass. Sit down, Odessa. Dad gestures to my old spot. Family dinner isn't complete without everyone present. I remain standing, clutching the folder I brought. How's your heart condition, Dad? His hand reflexively touches his chest. The doctor says stress is the primary factor. Interesting. I set my folder on the table. Because I called Dr. Winters 2 days ago. He hasn't seen you in 8 months, and your last checkup showed perfect cardiac health. The silence expands like desert heat. Dad recovers first. Blood is thicker than water, Odessa. Whatever issues we've had. That's not even the correct quote. I interrupt. The full proverb is, the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb. It means, chosen relationships are stronger than forced family ties. It means, Bella pushes forward, tears spilling. I was jealous of your independence. The way you always knew what you wanted. I'm so sorry about the desert. I didn't come for apologies. I open my folder. I came because I needed to understand why. One by one, I lay out my evidence. A childhood calendar color-coded to show Bella's activities versus my chores. Bank statements highlighting thousands spent on her while I worked. Psychology articles about golden child, scapegoat dynamics, highlighted passages glowing under the dining room light. What is all this? Mother's voice wavers. Documentation. I tap the folder. Every missed school event because someone needed to help at home. Every time my car was borrowed without permission. Every family emergency that mysteriously coincided with my job interviews. My father's face darkens. You kept records? Against your own family? I kept records because no one else acknowledged my reality. My voice remained steady, surprising even me. I needed to prove to myself I wasn't crazy. My mother rises, hands fluttering. After all we've done for you. That's exactly the problem. The words flow without rehearsal. You've never seen what I've done for you. The double shifts, the canceled plans, the dreams deferred. You called it family duty when it benefited you and selfishness when it benefited me. Bella reaches for my hand across the table. I step back. I'm not here for reconciliation. I say, meeting each pair of eyes. I'm here for closure. I release you from any obligation to me, and myself from any obligation to you. I place my house key on the table. The small brass key that once represented home now symbolizes a door I'm choosing to close. What about Christmas? What about Christmas? My mother asks, voice small. Thanksgiving? I'll be with people who respect my boundaries. I gather my documentation, sliding it back into the folder with calm precision. I wish you healing. All of you. My father stands, anger replacing his calculated concern. If you walk out that door, you'll what? I ask, genuinely curious. Abandon me in the desert? Take my car? Question my worth? You've already done your worst. Bella sobs into her hands, my mother clutches her cardigan, and my father towers with impotent rage. The scene should devastate me. Instead, I feel a curious lightness. Goodbye, I say simply. I walk out without tears or drama, closing the door with gentle finality. The night air fills my lungs with something that feels remarkably like freedom. Jackie waits in her car, window rolled down. You did it, she says, hand warm on my shoulder. I did. I look back at the house one last time. Now I can start. We drive away from the past toward tomorrow's horizon. For the first time in 25 years, my shoulders carry only their own weight. 6 months later, the morning sun streams through gauzy curtains. I picked myself, painting golden patterns across my small Phoenix apartment. I trace my fingers over the paralegal textbook on my desk, neon highlighter marks transforming legal jargon into stepping stones toward my future. My first office paycheck, still in its envelope, is pinned to the corkboard above, tangible proof that waitressing at Rosie's Diner is finally behind me. I pause before dialing the phone company. One deep breath, then another. I'd like to change my number permanently, I tell the customer service representative, my voice steady. When she asks if I want to notify anyone of the change, I simply say, no thank you. The small click as I hang up feels monumental. 6 months later, I'm driving my new-to-me Honda along that same stretch of desert highway. The steering wheel feels different under my hands, this car purchased with my own money, chosen for reliability rather than someone else's approval. I recognize the mile marker where Bella abandoned me, but today I pull over by choice. The Arizona sunset transforms the landscape into a watercolor painting, crimson and gold washing over sand and cacti. I step out, boots crunching on gravel, and breathe deeply. The vastness that once terrified me now feels like possibility stretching toward the horizon. You're making progress, Doctor. Schaefer told me during yesterday's therapy session. Boundaries aren't walls, they're healthy definitions of where you end and others begin. Those boundaries have allowed me to build something new. Tuesday potlucks with coworkers, weekend hikes with Phoenix locals who've become friends. Sunday afternoons volunteering at Desert Bloom Women's Shelter, where I sit across from women whose eyes mirror what mine once held. I understand feeling trapped, I tell them, and mean it. Last Christmas, instead of forcing myself through another performance of family harmony, I drove to Jackie's parents' house 3 hours north. Her mother hugged me without expectation. Her father carved the turkey without commentary on my life choices. They asked questions and actually listened to my answers. The apartment buzzer interrupts my memories of the desert, my housewarming gathering modest but meaningful. Officer Wilson arrives first, having driven up from my hometown with Judge Martin. Place looks good, Wilson says, handing me a potted cactus. Suits you strong, independent? Martha from the diner bustles in bearing her famous apple pie. Finally, she says, squeezing my hand, someone appreciated your worth. Later, glasses raised in my living room, Judge Martin offers a toast to new beginnings and found family. The support group I started meets Thursdays in the community center. Family Scapegoats Anonymous sounds dramatic, but the relief on people's faces when they realize they're not alone is worth any awkwardness. Last week, I received an anonymous letter from my hometown. Watching you stand up for yourself gave me courage to do the same. When Bella's number appears on my phone after she begged Jackie for it, I answer calmly. I listen to her explanations, her tentative olive branch. I wish you healing, I tell her when she finally pauses, but my boundaries remain. The simple peace I feel hanging up surprises me. Their approval or lack thereof no longer defines me. Today, driving with the windows down along the open highway, wind tangling my hair, I catch my reflection in the rearview mirror. The woman looking back has strength in her eyes and peace in her smile. The desert stretches endless and beautiful around me, no longer a trap but a testament to how far I've come. What would you have done in Odessa's place? Would you have pressed charges against your sister, or was the restraining order enough?
The third water glass refill arrives with another sympathetic glance from Paolo, the maitre d' at Ristorante Milano. His silver hair catches the glow of the crystal chandeliers as he leans forward, voice low and gentle. Perhaps another few minutes, Miss Bennett? I smooth my dress for the 100th time, fingers catching on the unfamiliar satin. The price tag had made me wince, but 4 years together seemed worth the splurge. Yes, please. I'm sure he's just caught in traffic. Paolo's kind eyes flicked to the wrapped box beside my half-empty bread plate. The vintage watch inside had emptied my savings, but Derek mentioned loving these old timepieces months ago. I've learned to listen when he drops hints about gifts. The door chimes. My heart leaps, then sinks as an elderly couple shuffles past. 6:30 has stretched into 7, then past 8. Each time the door opens, my spine straightens, hoping. Each time it isn't him, I shrink a little smaller in the massive leather booth. A burst of laughter shatters the restaurant's quiet ambiance. My stomach clenches before I even turn around. I know that laugh. See? Told you she'd still be here. Loyal like a Labrador. Derek's voice carries across the dining room, followed by deeper chuckles from the 3 men trailing behind him. I recognize them from his softball league, the ones who always seem to need temporary loans. Heat crawls up my neck as other diners turn to stare. A woman in pearls quickly looks away when our eyes meet. Her husband whispers something, shaking his head. Derek drops into the booth, designer jacket reeking of cigarettes. She pays the bills and still shows up. That's why I keep her. He grins at his friends, who snicker as they pull up chairs. The screech of chair legs against hardwood makes an older couple at the next table wince. I thought. My voice comes out small. I clear my throat, try again. I thought we were celebrating our anniversary, just us. And Miss Boys Night? Come on, babe, you know Thursdays are for the crew. Derek flags down Paolo, pointing at me. She'll get the wine list. The good stuff, right, honey? Since you're already dressed up and all. His eyes rake over my dress, lips curling. They'll maybe lay off the breadbasket. That satin's pulling a little tight. The words hit like a slap. I think of the afternoons spent shopping, trying to find something perfect. The extra shifts I picked up to afford it. The hours I spent getting ready, thinking he'd appreciate the effort. A flash of 4 years ago surfaces. My first week in Milwaukee after Mom died. The broken light fixture, the handsome electrician who showed up to fix it. His gentle questions about why I was crying. The coffee dates where he listened, really listened, to my dreams of going back to school, starting my own business someday. When had that man disappeared? Or had he ever really existed? Other memories filter through, ones I've pushed away. His emergency move, in 6 months after we met, when his roommate supposedly stopped paying rent. My hesitation, silenced by his reminder that I needed someone to look after me now that Mom was gone. The first borrowed car payment. His cutting comments when I mentioned my dwindling savings. The way my friends stopped visiting after he made them uncomfortable one too many times. Paolo appears with wine menus. I close mine without opening it. Just the wine tab, please. My voice comes out steadier than I expect. I reach for my purse. Derek's hand clamps around my wrist. So sensitive. We're celebrating. I look at his fingers pressed into my skin, then at his face. Something shifts inside me, like a key turning in a lock. I have a work emergency. I stand, shoulders straight. Enjoy your evening. Marcy, sit down. You're making a scene. His grip tightens. I gently but firmly remove his hand. No, Derek, you already did that. Paolo materializes with my coat, helping me into it with a slight bow. As I walk toward the door, I catch my reflection in the windows. For a moment, I barely recognize the woman staring back at me. Her eyes hold something I haven't seen in years. Dignity. Behind me, Derek's voice rises. See what I'm up with? Drama queen, am I right? But I'm already pushing through the door into the cool Milwaukee night, leaving the wrapped vintage watch on the table behind me. He never did appreciate gifts anyway. Through the window, I see Paolo discreetly sliding the wine list in front of Derek. I know exactly what he'll order, the most expensive bottle, because someone else is paying. But for the first time in 4 years, that someone won't be me. 20 minutes later, the streetlights blur through Denise's car window, each one casting shadows across my lap. I haven't spoken since she picked me up outside Ristorante Milano. Haven't needed to. The tissue box appeared on my knee the moment I slid into the passenger seat, but my eyes stayed dry. I ordered your favorite from Giovanni's, Denise says, her voice pitched low like she's talking to a spooked cat. That tortellini soup you used to get before. The words hang there. Before Derek complained about the garlic. Before he insisted Giovanni's prices were ridiculous when I could just heat up canned soup at home. My fingers trace the edge of the tissue box. When did I become so small? Denise's knuckles whiten on the steering wheel. She bites back whatever she's been wanting to say these past 3 years. Instead, she asks, "What do you need right now?" A laugh bubbles up, sharp and foreign in my throat. I think. The truth clicks into place like a key turning. I think I've been taking care of a child, not building a life with a partner. Denise snorts, and suddenly we're both laughing real laughter that shakes the tears loose. Except children eventually grow up, she wheezes, and I laugh harder because it hurts less than crying. At my home, the kitchen table swims into focus at 3 a.m. Bank statements spread before me like tarot cards telling a future I should have seen coming. My reading glasses slip down my nose as I squint at the numbers, calculator clicking steadily. $17,432 in car payments for a vehicle I've never driven. $24,890 in rent, since he moved in with that story about his roommate. $9,675 in emergency cash that always seemed to coincide with his softball league dues or new gaming equipment. The paper cuts sting as I sort through credit card applications all bearing the address we share. My signature loops across cosigner lines I never signed. The longer I look, the more patterns emerge. Each crisis timed perfectly with my payday. Each promise to repay coming right before he needed something else. My phone buzzes. Another angry voicemail joins the folder I've unconsciously labeled evidence. My thumb hovers over the play button, but I already know what I'll hear. The same threats wrapped in concern. The same guilt wrapped in love. Dawn paints shadows across our 2-bedroom apartment as I walk from room to room. The contrast slaps me awake harder than any coffee could. My bedroom, a twin bed with sheets from Goodwill, one lamp missing its shade because we'll get you a new one soon. A closet half empty since he needed space for his winter coats. His room, 3 gaming monitors casting their glow across designer clothes still bearing tags. Empty bottles tucked behind stacks of shoeboxes, always his preferred brands, always paid for with money I loaned him for job interviews. The refrigerator door swings open. His organic almond milk, his imported cheese, his craft beer. Nothing I would choose for myself. Nothing I even like. My laptop whirs to life, and my hands shake as I type in his passwords. How many times had I logged into his accounts to make those car payments? How many job applications had I helped him polish, each one requiring his login information? The emails load, messages to friends about his sugar mama and her gullible nature. Plans for boys' nights funded by the money I thought was going toward our future. Jokes about how easy it is to make me feel guilty when I question his spending. The teacup warms my palms as I sit at my kitchen table. Morning sun catches the hearts I drew around today's date on the calendar. 4 years. The paper trembles as I pick up my pen, but my handwriting stays steady as I begin my list. Step 1. Call bank about reversing last car payment. Step 2. Document unauthorized credit applications. Step 3. Change all passwords. Step 4. Contact credit bureaus. Step 5. Pack his things. No drama. No screaming matches or revenge plots. Just quiet, methodical steps toward freedom. My voice barely whispers the words, but they fill the kitchen with their weight. No more chaos, no drama, just dignity. The calculator clicks one final time. The total of everything I've given him could have been a down payment on a house. Could have funded the small business I dreamed about over those first coffee dates. Could have been anything except what it became, the price tag for learning what I'm worth. But as I fold the bank statements into clean, sharp creases, a different total comes clear. The cost of staying would be higher than anything he's already taken. That number doesn't fit on my calculator's display. It can't be measured in dollars or cents. The sun climbs higher, warming the kitchen tile beneath my bare feet. I haven't slept at all, but for the first time in 4 years, I don't check my phone to see if he needs anything. Don't calculate how long until my next paycheck might cover his latest emergency. Don't make myself smaller to fit the space he's left me. Instead, I pour another cup of tea and start making calls. The bank, the credit card companies, the apartment manager. Each conversation adds another brick to the wall I'm building between the woman I was last night and the one I'm becoming in the morning light. My voice grows stronger with each call. My spine straightens just a little more. And somewhere between my third cup of tea and the first email to a lawyer, I realize I'm not scared anymore. Not of his anger. Not of being alone. The only fear left is the thought of spending one more day living someone else's life. My phone buzzes for the 12th time in an hour this morning. Derek's name flashes across the screen with another text. Where are you? I set the phone face down on the dining room table and return to the spreadsheet where every transaction from the past 4 years glows in neat rows. Beside me, Denise clicks through online banking statements, highlighting numbers in yellow. Another one? She asks without looking up. Just marking his territory. I check off another box on my list. Like a dog who can't figure out why his favorite fire hydrant isn't responding. The next message comes faster. Answer me. Denise's fingers pause over her keyboard. Want me to block him? Not yet. I sort another stack of receipts into chronological order. Let him build the evidence file for us. The light slants through my apartment windows, catching dust motes that dance around scattered papers and empty coffee mugs. On the wall, my grandmother's old clock ticks steadily, marking time in the same reliable rhythm it has since 1962. Its constancy anchors me as I document every car payment, every rent check, every emergency loan. $17,000 in car payments. Denise whistles low. For a car that's only in his name. $24,000 in rent. I tap my calculator. Plus utilities. And the cash loans? $9,675. The number burns in my throat. That I can prove with bank records. My phone lights up again. This time it's a call. I let it ring through to voicemail as I dial the auto loan company instead. The hold music plays softly while I arrange my documentation. Thank you for calling Midwest Auto Finance. This is Sandra. Hello, Sandra. My voice comes out steady, professional. I'm calling about account number 47,829B. I've been making payments on this vehicle for 3 years, but I'm not listed on the loan. Papers shuffle on Sandra's end. I see the payment history. Are you Marcy Bennett? Yes. I have records of every payment from my account, but I never signed any loan documents. Oh, honey. Sandra's tone shifts from professional to personal. I've seen this before. Give me a few minutes here. While Sandra reviews the account, I open my laptop and begin changing passwords. Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime. Services I've paid for since Derek moved in. His gaming accounts, linked to my credit card. Email accounts I helped him set up for job applications. With each change, another piece of my life returns to my control. Miss Bennett? Sandra returns. That last payment you made Thursday hasn't posted yet. I can stop it from processing if you'd like. A familiar flutter of anxiety rises in my chest. The same feeling that always came before I told Derek no. I push it aside. Yes, please stop the payment. Denise squeezes my hand as I end the call. Next? His cloud storage. I type in the password I created when he needed help backing up photos. Let's see what else he's been keeping there. Files populate the screen. My bank statements, scanned copies of my driver's license, social security card, documents I never gave him permission to store. I download everything to a secure folder, then systematically delete his access. The afternoon melts into evening. Derek's messages grow increasingly desperate as each account locks him out. Between digital cleanups, Denise helps me bag his belongings. Designer clothes bought with my credit card, gaming equipment financed through my Best Buy account. The vintage watch I left on the restaurant table last night. He must have grabbed it before storming out. Donation center or dump? Denise hefts another garbage bag. Donation center. I fold one of his expensive shirts. Someone might need these things. In his closet, I find items I thought were lost. My mother's silver picture frame, the leather portfolio from my first job, birthday gifts from friends that mysteriously disappeared after he claimed they were tacky. My phone lights up with a final message. You can't do this to me. But I already have. On Monday, I'll visit HR to remove him as my emergency contact. I'll speak with building security about preventing his access. I'll start rebuilding the boundaries he spent years dismantling. The sun sets as we load the last bag into Denise's car. Through my apartment windows, I see lights flickering on across the city. Other lives, other stories, other moments of quiet revolution. I think of the spreadsheets waiting on my dining room table. The careful documentation of 4 years spent carrying someone who confused sacrifice for weakness. The evidence gathered by a heart that knew, even when my mind wasn't ready to admit it. My phone stays silent now. In the growing dark, I water the small potted herbs on my windowsill. Plants I started growing last week in soil that's mine alone. Their leaves stretch toward the glass, reaching for light and space to grow. Ready? Denise jingles her car keys. I look around my apartment. The gaps where his things stood now feel less like empty spaces and more like room to breathe. Yeah, I'm ready. The donation center closes in 30 minutes. Just enough time to drop off the physical remnants of a life I'm finally ready to leave behind. Just enough time to begin again. The first block number appears at 6:43 a.m. on Tuesday. Marcy watches her phone vibrate across her kitchen counter. Derek's name nowhere to be found on the screen. She sips her coffee, remembering his habit of borrowing friends' phones when he wants to avoid bill collectors. 10 more calls follow before noon. She savors the silence between each one, counting the minutes until the next desperate attempt. At 17, the text messages start. Unknown. They're saying my card declined at Murphy's. Unknown. The landlord called about rent. Unknown. What did you do? Marcy sets her phone face down and returns to updating her spreadsheet. The numbers tell their own story now. 4 years of calculated exploitation revealed in clean, efficient rows. Her finger traces across the screen, lingering on the final total. $51,997. The apartment manager catches her eye as she walks through the lobby that evening. Just wanted to say, those noise complaints about the late-night gaming? Should have told you sooner. Man had a mouth on him when I asked him to keep it down. Thank you, Mike. Marcy pauses at the elevator. Did he ever yell at Mrs. Peterson upstairs? Regular occurrence. Called her an old bat when she complained about his music at 3 a.m. Mike adjusts his nameplate. Security footage caught most of it. Added it to the file we're keeping, just in case. The elevator doors open to reveal Derek standing in front of her apartment, fist raised to pound on the door again. Their eyes meet. His designer jacket looks rumpled, his carefully styled hair disheveled. You changed the locks? His voice cracks. I live here. The notice on the door explains everything. Marcy gestures to the legal document taped beside the handle. Your name was never on the lease. Where am I supposed to go? Your parents offered their spare room. I'm not living with them. They're impossible. He runs his hands through his hair. You know how they treat me. No. Marcy unlocks her door, careful to block the entrance with her body. I know how they offered to help if you agree to counseling. That's not the same thing. The slam of his fist against the wall echoes through the hallway. Mrs. Peterson's door cracks open above, then quickly shuts. Marcy imagines Mike downstairs, adding another clip to that security file. You've ruined everything, Derek's voice rises. My car payment bounced. They're saying they'll repossess. The payment I made every month for 2 years? Marcy keeps her tone neutral. Yes, I canceled the last one, still pending, thankfully. You can't. I can, I did. She steps inside. The bank was very interested in how those payments never appeared on my credit report despite coming from my account. Apparently, that's a red flag. The door closes on his reply. Marcy leans against it, listening to his footsteps fade toward the stairwell. Her hands shake as she makes tea, muscle memory reaching for the expensive brand he insisted on. Instead, she chooses the simple peppermint tea her mother always made when she was upset. The next morning, her inbox holds an email from Derek's supervisor. The subject line reads, voice messages, and performance documentation. She opens it during her lunch break. Between bites of the sandwich she can now afford to buy fresh instead of watching her groceries disappear into Derek's late-night snacking. Miss Bennett, thank you for bringing these concerning behaviors to our attention. Mr. Thompson's comments about our clients and company policies warrant immediate review. Her phone buzzes. A text from Derek's mother. I had no idea he spoke to you that way. Those recordings broke my heart. We've enabled him for too long. Thank you for having the courage we didn't. Marcy closes her office door and opens a new spreadsheet. The monthly car payment she no longer needs to make minus $352 goes into the first cell. A beginning, not an ending. The local coffee shop she stopped visiting after Derek complained about the prices welcomes her back with unexpected warmth. The barista Sarah slides her Americano across the counter with a gentle smile. We've wanted to tell you for months, Sarah says, refusing Marcy's debit card. The way he treated our staff when you weren't around? This one's on us. Welcome back. Marcy learns about the other businesses gradually. The bar where he grabbed a server's wrist. The gym that canceled his membership after complaints about his behavior in the locker room. The restaurant that kept his photo behind the counter. Just so we know who not to serve, the hostess explains with a wink. Her first meeting with the financial advisor feels like confession. The woman listens without judgment, nodding as Marcy outlines the missing savings, the diverted payments, the loans she never agreed to co-sign. You'd be surprised how common this is, the advisor says, spreading paperwork across her desk. But you caught it relatively early. Look, you still qualify for a small home loan. Your credit score will recover. You're not starting over. You're starting smarter. The final email arrives on a Sunday morning. Marcy reads it on her balcony, morning sun warming her shoulders through a robe she bought herself, just because she liked the color. I'm sleeping in my car. This is your fault. You've left me homeless and penniless. I hope you're happy with yourself. The reply from his mother arrives moments later when Marcy forwards the message. He refused our spare room again this morning. Said our rules were beneath him. The counselor we found has an opening Tuesday. Marcy blocks 3 numbers before lunch. Derek's friends text through Instagram instead, their messages shifting from accusations to admissions. He told us you stole everything. But that doesn't match what we've learned. Sorry, we never said anything. His final message comes through an unfamiliar email address at midnight. I know what you did. I can make this public. Marcy closes her laptop, remembers the folder of evidence she provided his employer, his parents, his creditors. So many years of saving things just in case, while her heart knew what her mind refused to admit. Her response requires only one word. Truth. She sleeps through the night for the first time in years. A week later, glass walls rise around me in the insurance company lobby, morning light streaming through in golden rectangles. My heels click steady rhythms against marble as I cross to the elevator bank. 3 steps from the doors, his voice shatters the quiet. You think you can just ghost me after everything I did for you? My pulse jumps, but my stride doesn't falter. Security guards Thomas and Jim move from their desk with practiced calm, exactly as we discussed last week. They position themselves between Derek and the elevator bank where I stand. Sir, this is private property, Thomas says, his voice carrying the weight of 30 years on the force. Private property? Derek's laugh bounces off glass and marble. That's my woman you're blocking me from. Tell them, Marcy. Tell them who I am. I turn, shoulders straight, and meet his eyes. I'm not your anything, Derek. 4 years, his voice rises, drawing attention from colleagues arriving for work. 4 years I took care of you after your mom died. You'd be nothing without me. The old Marcy would have hunched her shoulders, tried to disappear. But that Marcy died in an Italian restaurant 3 months ago. The only thing you took care of was spending my money. My voice carries, clear and calm. Around me, coworkers pause their morning routines, forming a loose barrier between us. Susan from accounting steps closer, coffee cup gripped like a weapon. Mark from IT angles his broad shoulders into Derek's line of sight. You want to talk about money? Derek's face flushes red. How about the loans you took out in my name? The credit cards? Everything is documented. I slip my phone from my purse, thumb hovering over the record button. Would you like me to forward the bank records showing every payment I made on your behalf? Or the texts where you asked for them? His mouth opens, closes. Behind him, more colleagues gather, faces hard. They've heard his voice messages, seen the late-night texts. Sometimes the best revenge is simply letting someone's true nature show itself. This isn't over, he spits, backing toward the doors. You'll regret this. No, I smile, feeling the slight dimple form in my right cheek. I won't. The elevator arrives with a soft chime. As I step inside, Susan squeezes my arm. Lunch later? I nod, warmth spreading through my chest. The doors close on Derek's back. That afternoon, I sit across from Patricia Chen at Milwaukee Legal Aid, sliding a folder across her desk. I have everything documented. Bank statements, texts, voicemails, witnesses, to verbal threats. She opens the folder, scanning efficiently. 20 years of domestic cases have taught her what matters. This is extremely thorough. Most clients don't think to save evidence until it's too late. I didn't think either, not consciously, but some part of me knew. Her eyes soften. The heart knows before the head sometimes. Now, let's talk about that restraining order. With a perfect plan, we were ready for the courtroom. 2 weeks later, I stand in a courtroom, hand steady on the podium. The judge peers over reading glasses, reviewing my documentation. Miss Bennett, what outcome are you seeking here? I just want to be left alone. Simple truth carries its own power. The judge nods, signs the order. Behind me, Derek shifts in his seat, muttering under his breath. But the law speaks louder than his protests. Changes ripple outward like stones dropped in still water. His car disappears from the apartment complex parking lot, towed back to the dealership. The credit card companies close his accounts. His parents send a letter, not to me, but to him. They'll help, they write, but only if he agrees to counseling. I hear through the office grapevine that he's on probation at work. The recordings I send his boss weren't vindictive, just his own words about faking timesheets, sleeping through client calls. Sometimes the truth is the sharpest weapon. His friends drift away as the story spreads. No more softball games, no more boys' nights. The woman he started dating after me, Lana, posts cryptic warnings on social media after finding messages to other women on his phone. His landlord requires a cosigner for his new lease. No one steps forward. A week after the trial, I'm sorting mail in my building's lobby when his shadow falls across the tile. My heart pounds, but my voice stays level. You're violating the restraining order. I've lost everything, his voice cracks. You have to help me. You're the only one who ever really cared. No, I close my mailbox, turn to face him. I'm the only one who ever let you take advantage of that care. His hand reaches for my arm, then drops as I step back. Please, I'll change. I'll do better. I gave you everything I had. The words come soft but clear. Now I'm giving myself the same generosity. I walk past him to the stairs, keys clutched tight. His voice follows me. You can't just leave me with nothing. I pause, one foot on the bottom step. This to yourself, Derek. All of it. The stairwell door closes behind me with a quiet click. Through the wire-reinforced window, I see him standing motionless in the lobby, staring at the space where I stood. Understanding finally dawns in his eyes, not just what he lost, but that he was the one who threw it away. I climb the stairs to my apartment, each step lighter than the last. Sometimes dignity isn't about grand gestures or dramatic scenes. Sometimes it's just about walking away and meaning it. Behind my locked door, I curl up on the couch with a cup of tea. My phone buzzes, probably Sue checking in. The restraining order paperwork sits on my coffee table, official seal catching the afternoon light. Outside my window, a cardinal lands on the fire escape, bright red against gray metal. I take a sip of tea, letting warmth spread through my chest. The bird cocks its head, studying its reflection in my window. After a moment, it spreads its wings and soars away, leaving only empty air where it perched. I raise my mug in a silent toast. Here's to empty spaces and the freedom they bring. Here's to walking away. Here's to giving yourself the love you wasted on someone who never deserved it. Here's to dignity. 6 months later, sunlight streams through bare windows, painting golden squares across my hardwood floors. No heavy drapes block the morning light anymore. Digby stretches on his windowsill perch, whiskers twitching as he tracks a sparrow outside. My rescue cat earned his full name, Dignity, the day he hissed at Derek's final attempt to push past my new apartment door. We're a good match, both learning to protect our space. The bank statement on my desk shows another month of steady growth. Not dramatic numbers, but honest ones. Every dollar belongs to me. No mysterious withdrawals, no urgent demands for temporary loans. Just the quiet accumulation of choices that put my needs first. Travel brochures scatter across my desk: weekend trips to Door County, a kayaking adventure in the Apostle Islands, cooking classes in Chicago. The kinds of dreams Derek called wasteful. My fingers trace the glossy photo of Oregon's Cannon Beach. I've already booked my flight. My shoulders drop naturally now when I walk through my apartment. The tension that lived between my shoulder blades for 4 years has melted away, replaced by a lightness I'd forgotten could exist. Even my breathing comes easier in this space that's wholly mine. Thursday evenings mean dinner with Denise and our growing circle of friends. Real friends who celebrate my successes and listen without judgment when I need to process another layer of healing. Last week, I brought my famous apple pie recipe Derek claimed was showing off. Sarah asked for the recipe. Beth took seconds. No one made me feel small for enjoying the simple pleasure of feeding people I love. My financial recovery group meets Tuesday nights in a warm church basement that smells of coffee and hope. I'm not the newest member anymore. Sometimes I share the spreadsheet system I developed for rebuilding my savings. Sometimes I just listen. The mentor from my bank, Linda, joined us last month as a guest speaker. She winked at me when describing how to document financial abuse. My careful records have become a template for others finding their way back to stability. The promotion caught me off guard last month. Your focus has improved dramatically, my supervisor said. We need your eye for detail on the Anderson account. I didn't realize anyone had noticed the change in me, but my colleagues seek me out now, value my input. Next week I fly to Denver, my first business trip representing the company at a regional conference. My new pantsuit hangs ready in the closet, tailored to fit perfectly. The community garden plot wasn't available until spring, but winter gave me time to plan. My mother's old gardening books fill a shelf now, their pages marked with sticky notes. The tomato seedlings on my windowsill lean toward the sun, green promises of the harvest to come. Derek called gardening a waste of time. Now my soil-stained hands plant hope in neat rows. My morning reflection shows a woman I'm learning to recognize. The mirror no longer holds accusations about weight or age or worth. Just me, choosing my own path. The silver threads in my brown hair catch the light wisdom earned, not flaws to hide. Last night I took myself to dinner at Chez Antoine. Not the restaurant where Derek humiliated me. I don't need that kind of symmetry to prove my growth. I chose this place because I wanted to try their coq au vin. The maitre seated me at a lovely corner table. I ordered exactly what I wanted, including the creme brulee for dessert. You have a beautiful smile, called a man from the next table. You should share it more often. I met his eyes calmly. Thank you, but I'm enjoying my private dinner. No apology in my voice. No rush to soothe his ego. The waiter appeared instantly. Is this gentleman bothering you, miss? No, I said. He was just leaving. The man's face flushed as he turned away. The waiter nodded respectfully and refreshed my water. I savored every bite of my dessert. This morning's mail brought a letter from the first-time homebuyer assistance program. My interview for the senior coordinator position is next Wednesday. A dating app notification blinks on my phone. I downloaded it last week but haven't created a profile. Not yet. The time will come when I'm ready to share my life again. But for now, this space is mine to fill. Digby purrs against my leg as I sort through old papers. My fingers brush a crumpled list titled What I Deserve, written in tear-stained ink the night Derek left. I smooth it flat, then tear it into tiny pieces. On fresh paper, I write in steady strokes, what I want. We built this ourselves, I tell Digby as he settles in my lap. He blinks slowly in agreement, both of us content in the quiet dignity of our shared home. Outside my bright windows, Milwaukee spreads under a spring sky full of possibility. I am not waiting for anyone to complete this life. I am already whole.